Where's that dang meat tenderizer? Chef, I've got your meat tenderizer right here. Not what I meant. Well, hi folks, welcome back to Racin-n-Braisin. I am CJ, a chef with over 20 years experience and a lifelong NASCAR fan. And today I'm going to bring you some tips and tricks from my kitchen to yours. We're going to talk about Jäger Schnitzel. This weekend NASCAR rolled into Pennsylvania, and that got me thinking about German food, which is definitely regionally appropriate, and my favorite dish, Jäger Schnitzel. And no, not that Jaeger. No, Jaeger as in Jaeger sauce, which is German for hunter sauce. This is going to be a mushroom gravy that goes over top of our schnitzel. Today I'm going to be doing pork cutlets for my protein. We'll start off with our mise en place, get all of our stuff together, show you all of the measurements that we're going to be using today. Then we'll move on over to how I'm going to prepare the pork. We'll get that meat tenderizer out. We'll get it all trimmed up and thinned out. We'll bread it up and get it fried. And finally, we'll finish things off with our Jaeger sauce. And we'll take you through that step by step. Put it all together on a plate, and I'll talk with you about what recommended sides or traditional sides you would normally find with Jaeger Schnitzel. So let's go ahead and jump on over to the prep table and get our things in place. Okay guys, we've moved over to our prep table and we have gathered all of our ingredients. Let's go ahead and start with our pork here on the left. I've got two really thin cutlets. You'll also see there I have an egg, some breadcrumbs, and I have the flour there for my breading. I also have some cornstarch there at the top. I'm going to mix that in with my breadcrumbs. And of course there you see the famous meat tenderizer. Over on the right hand side we have everything that we need for our sauce. I've got the mushrooms there. We are going to start with some diced onion, throw in the mushrooms, then we've got some aromatics there, garlic and thyme, a beef bouillon cube, and some warm water. We're going to finish it with the Worcestershire and some heavy cream to give it that depth of flavor as well as some richness. So that is all of our mise en place. Let's go ahead and get our table cleared off and ready to start working with our pork. Alright guys, let's go ahead and get our pork trimmed nice and thin for us already, just under a ½ inch. What we're going to do is remove the bones and the fat, really. So you see the center here? That's really what we're going for. So we're just going to trim around. I've just got a basic steak knife here. Use whatever is sharp for you and just go ahead and get into it. And like I said, you're just cutting right around the fat here. Make yourself a space and voila. Okay, we have two small little rounds of pork. Now we're ready to go ahead and get these guys flattened out. We can go ahead and discard all of this. This is no good to us anymore. If you wanted to save the fat trimmings, get rid of all of the bone that's in here, you're welcome to, and you can render it down and get yourself a little bit of stock or even make some chicharrones out of the fat, but that's just really not enough for me. Now here comes the fun part. We're going to take a piece of plastic wrap and put that right over the top of our pork here, and we're going to grab our tenderizer and we're going to pound on this. Now don't beat it like it owes you money, because we definitely need to still use this pork afterwards. So just not a gentle, but somewhere in between, right? There we go, just like that. Rinse and repeat. All right, there we go. We're going to remove our plastic here. And you can see now we have gone from what was just over a quarter inch, like something like 3/8 to just under a quarter of an inch. We're just over an eighth of an inch here in our thickness, and I think that's perfect for what we're going to do here today. So next, let's get our breading station set up. All right, guys, we're ready to start breading. If you guys have seen me do this before, it's the same thing, right? It's going to be a dry hand and a wet hand. We're going to dip our protein in our flour first, knock off any excess flour that's not sticking to it, dredge it through our egg, and then dip it into our breadcrumbs. Once we're done breading it, I'm going to set it over here on a wire rack while I go get my pan and my oil ready to fry. Before I start on this breading, I am going to add some seasoning here to my breadcrumbs. Just a good pinch of salt and a smaller pinch of pepper. And then a secret that I have picked up over the years is just a little bit of cornstarch to throw into that as well. And I'm going to give this all a good mix. You can use any kind of breadcrumb that you want. Now we're ready. Okay, designate a wet hand. I'm going to use my left as my wet and a dry hand, which will be my right here today. So I'm going to take my wet, grab my protein, drop it into my flour, and turn it over. And now I'll grab my dry and just kind of press it into the flour, give it a shake, drop it into our egg, turn it over to coat it nice and good. Now, let it drip for a second. Get a little bit of that excess egg off of there before we put it into our breadcrumbs. And now we're ready to go ahead and get our breadcrumbs pushed over the top here. I use the fork to just kind of get it started so I'm not getting too much stuck to my fingers here. And a nice good coating on this guy. All right, there's one. Rinse and repeat. All right, that's it. Let's go over to the stovetop and get our oil heated up, and it's time to fry these bad boys. All right, guys, we're ready to fry. I've grabbed a cast iron pan and I've grabbed some frying oil. I'm using peanut oil in my case. You're welcome to use whatever you want. We've got our pork over here ready to go that's been breaded up, and we're going to drop it into the fryer. I've been letting it warm up. You can see there's some smoking to it right now, which is okay. It just started smoking. And I've got my fish spatula here, which is going to be perfect for turning this over. This is going to go quick, only about 2 minutes aside since it's so thin. And then we're going to put it right back onto the paper towel and then set it aside. All right, guys, it's been about a minute and a half here. I'm going to take a look here because I can see some pretty heavy browning on the one side. And it is definitely ready to flip on over. There we go. And just about another minute to a minute and a half on this side, and then we're done. All right, guys, let's take a look. All right, nice and golden on both sides. I think we are ready to remove these, turn the heat off. And now, you're probably wondering to yourself, well, I still have to make a sauce. How am I going to keep these guys warm? Simple answer to that, take your rack and just put it right into an oven and let it hang out in there. We're going to take this oil from this pan, put it into a safe container and get rid of it. Then we're going to return our skillet to the range and get started on our sauce. Alright guys, let's start making our sauce. I'm going to grab just a little bit of oil here, put that back into our pan here, let it warm up just a touch. And then we're going to throw in our onion. And a pinch of salt. Now we're going to go ahead and stir this all around so we get the salt incorporated in, we get the oil coated on all of the onion here. And we're just going to lightly saute this for about 5 minutes. All right, we're hitting just about 5 minutes now of letting this lightly saute. I've been over just a medium-low heat. What I've been doing with the onion here is really just letting it sweat out. I'm not trying to get too much color on the onion. I'm really just trying to let the aromatic of the onion uh, open up, effervesce, and get ready for our next step here, which is to add our mushrooms. So I'm just going to go ahead and make myself a little opening here in the center to receive my mushrooms. I'm going to add a touch more oil. And now we can put our mushrooms in. A little bit of salt. Now we're going to saute these mushrooms on a medium heat for about 5 more minutes, stirring occasionally until they start to release some of their liquid and change color and decrease in size. Alright guys, it's been about 5 minutes of us just letting this saute. We've got some color on our mushrooms. They've released some of their liquid into the pan here, which is evaporating off through the heating of it. And we're getting some nice looking color on everything. So that was about 5 minutes. I'm really liking where that's at. I'm ready to add my aromatics. So we're going to start with adding some thyme and our garlic, and we're going to mix this all real good, give it about 30 seconds for the garlic to release, and then we're going to add our liquid and allow this to do its thing. Now, ordinarily, you will not find thyme in a traditional Jaeger sauce, but I really like thyme with mushrooms, and I have an abundance here of it outside my house, so I use it a lot. All right, that's about 30 seconds of things opening up. I'm going to add a tablespoon of Worcestershire, and I'm going to add 1 cup of my bouillon cube mixed with hot water, a good pinch of pepper, and another good pinch of salt, and stir this about. And we're going to try and get this to a quick boil here, so I'm turning my heat up. Alright, we have got a good rolling simmer going started here on our sauce, so I'm going to go ahead and chop the heat down to low. And we're going to let this go for about 15 to 20 minutes, stirring occasionally. Alright guys, we're approaching the 14-minute mark here, and giving it one more stir here. The majority of our liquid has evaporated. That's exactly what we want. So what we're going to do here is now incorporate our heavy cream in. And we want to make sure our heat is really low. If you feel like it's too high, like I do right now, I'm actually just going to turn it off entirely. We want the heat as low as possible, and we're going to pour this heavy cream in. The reason we want that heat really low is because we don't want this heavy cream to just go in here and scald and burn. We don't want that flavoring at all. So we're just going to get that well incorporated first. And if we need to, we'll turn the heat back on low, allow the heavy cream to reduce and thicken. And that will be our sauce, and we'll be ready to serve. So I've turned the heat back on. I've put it as low as possible. And this really is only going to take about 2 to 3 minutes for the cream to warm up. It'll start to thicken naturally. That's what's going to create our gravy. We're just going to let that cream bubble for a little bit. So we've allowed our cream to reduce, and I've turned the heat off. It's been about 3 minutes now of the cream just getting happy. You notice the color has gotten a little bit darker here. And I'm going to allow this to just sit for a minute. And that's actually going to allow the cream to thicken further. Okay guys, we've allowed our sauce to just hang out and thicken for a moment here, and we're ready to serve our plate. So let's go ahead and get ourselves dished up. Back our pork just like that, and we're going to get ourselves a nice big ladle of gravy to go on top of it, just like that. Whoops. Yeah, I had some technical difficulties, but I will tell you the Jaeger Schnitzel was fantastic. It was really good. Unfortunately, I lost my footage of the final product for you guys. But how I wanted to round all of this out for you guys is just to tell you about what is traditionally served with Jaeger Schnitzel and what I ended up doing myself. So traditionally, you're going to find a starch, and it's normally a potato, whether it's like a smashed potato or a steamed new potato that's been salted, or you'll find a palm of some sort, which is a French fry, right? And also you'll find some braised red cabbage that goes with it. That's a traditional German side that you find often with any German dish, whether it's a schnitzel or a sausage or any of those dishes. So you're generally going to find some sort of potato dish, whether it's fried or steamed or even a mashed potato, some sort of cabbage with it. What I ended up doing myself is just putting some sauerkraut with it, since I am going low carb, and that worked out great. It was delicious. A very, very good meal. Definitely nice and hearty. Great for a fall or winter time meal. Probably not appropriate for the 100-degree temperatures that we're getting here in the Carolinas right now, but it was still fantastic nonetheless. So that rounds out our Jaeger Schnitzel how-to video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you were able to follow along and did this at home, please be sure to take a picture of your work and post it to my Facebook page, Racin-n-Braisin. I truly do appreciate it, and I'll be sure to feature it in a future video. So be sure to look out for future how-to videos. Like and subscribe down below. All of your comments are greatly appreciated and truly help me out. And let me know what you guys want to see next. I've got several ideas, but I'm always open to suggestions. Until next time, guys, stay happy.